Kiitos aivan valtavan paljon. It's one thing to listen to these songs in your studio with your small earplugs somewhere here. Oh, here they are. Now listen to them here at the arena. Kind of big difference. I want to thank everybody who has been arranging this, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to play here today. And thank you to our VJ, Julius Tuomisto, who's been handling the visuals so that sometimes I even forget what I'm doing. Okay, thank you very much. And for my final number, it's a tune that is also available on my record, which is for sale at the info desk. That's what I'm supposed to say. It's true. Thank you. Thank you very much. And then for the next thing, raves. Thank you very much. You've been an amazing audience. Thanks for letting me having me here tonight. Thank you.
Huutakaa kevulle! Kovempaa! Eihän me saada enkorea edes lähde enempää ääntä. Aika hyvä yritys. Haluatteko te kuulla lisää vielä? Sitä ennen me tehdään näin. Kebu. Kovempaa! 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 One more. Can we have one more? We got one more!
stop. Thank you.
Antakaa iso käsi! Isompi käsi! Huge thanks to Kebu, and also why don't we bring out Julius also, who's done a fantastic job in the visualization. A big hand for Japeq. Now, I can say I was dancing like crazy, and this was a fantastic show. Thank you. How did you feel about performing here today?
It's amazing. It's just amazing. Something that I never thought would happen, so this is great. Great opportunity, and thank you to everybody.
So don't forget, you can buy Kebu's record from the info desk and check out youtube.com/Kebu or Kebunator. Kebunator. So subscribe on YouTube, stay tuned for more stuff on Kebu. And don't leave, we got a fantastic show for you tonight. Lisää musa on tulossa. Seuraavana pienen roudaamisen jälkeen Muffler ja sen jälkeen Looney back to back with Garden. Bilet jatkuu, yö on vasta alussa. Muistakaa jorata, muistakaa tanssia ja muistakaa taputtakaa artisteille. Ja iso käsi vielä, Kebu ja Japeq. Iso käsi! Kiitos, thank you.
On poissa.
Okay, so let's continue. And now we have on stage Wojtek from Inkuvo talking about bringing dreams come true. So take it away, Wojtek.
Hi, everybody. All right. How are you guys today? All good? Not so good, I see. All right. Because I'm from the demo scene, the first slide should look like this, not like that before, probably. Okay, I'm going to tell you about how I came the way from demo scene to making video games on a kind of big scale. How can you do that also by yourself, and what helps, what doesn't. So it all started like, I think it was 25 years ago, something like that. My first computer was Atari, but because later I had Amiga, we need to say, let's forget about it, because there is only one computer that exists. So my real first computer was ZX Spectrum then. Maybe some of you had this machine, or at least know about it. It was a very lovable computer. As a small kid, I loved playing games. I had like literally hundreds of them for my Spectrum. In Poland at the time, piracy was totally legal. You can pirate games to your heart's content. That was legal according to law. So I had like hundreds of games for it. I loved playing games so much that I wanted to create them. So I asked my brother, I begged him, please teach me how to program. And he did that. I was like 8 years old. I learned how to program in BASIC, and I did my first game. And it was so cool to show it to my friends and see them actually play it. Spectrum was a very cool little machine, but it had its very, naughty limitations. Like in every block of, I think it was 8 by 8 or something pixels, you could have only 2 colors. So here you go how the graphics looked. They were very blocky. But then people figure out you can sometimes do something that is theoretically not possible, that is not within the limitations of the hardware. And they figure out that actually on Spectrum you can make the graphics better. You can see the difference on the parrot's nose, face, and here it's better now. A bit better, but better. What happened here was that with every line they changed the palette of colors, and then it was possible to have a blocks of 8 by 1 pixel of 2 colors, not 8 by 8 pixels. So it turned out the machine can do something that's theoretically impossible. And that later on was the foundation of a demo scene. I mean, pushing hardware to the limits. This let people express themselves in new ways. I mean, if you can do something other people cannot do, it's a way of showing a technical skill and way of making people say, wow, how did that happen? A bit later, I became a proud owner of Amiga 500. This was the machine of my dreams and the dreams of many, many people at the time. It had really cool graphics. If you compare it to PC or other computers at the time, they were like nothing compared to Amiga. And the very same monitor, I didn't have this disk drive, but the mouse. I still have Amiga 1200 somewhere in my home. I just need to refurbish it one day and bring it back to life. So with Amiga, there came a bunch of very, very cool software. One of the programs, anybody recognize this? Yeah? Just give the name. Yeah, exactly. It was Deluxe Paint. I think it's version 3, but I don't know it for sure. It was one of the first programs that I launched at my Amiga. It was so cool. You could paint everything if you had the skill. That's not my picture. And it made the creativity really boost on Amiga. The palette of colors was limited. Amiga could display 32 colors or 64 in some more advanced extra half bright mode, but then the latest 32 were just half the brightness of the first 32, so we had only control of the first half of the palette. And there was the mode called Hold and Modify, which enabled you to display 4,000 colors on screen, but it was very difficult to paint in this mode. So Deluxe Paint was so cool. with software like this, people were able to create some really, really great games. At that time, it was, you know, like mind-blowing. Anybody recognize this game? Yeah? Sorry? Yeah, Shadow of the Beast 2, exactly, that's the point. That was the second part of the game. If you notice the rainbow of colors in the background, it was possible only because of the hardware tricks, changing a single color, which every couple of lines, so that it created a gradient. It was one of the very few effects that was quite easily achievable on the Amiga, and made the game look as it used more colors that Amiga could really technically use. There were many, many more really inspiring games on the Amiga. So that was Shadow of the Beast, and then with the graphics, with the games, with everything that was shown, there was also, of course, the demo scene. And now I'm going to show you a demo. Whoever writes... So try your best. I'll try to judge who was first and tell the name of the demo. Okay, the T-shirt probably will stay, but you can give wild guesses at it. All right, nobody? It was one of the most classic demos ever made, hardwired. Back then, it was really mega inspiring, and moreover, it was one of the demos that showed that it's not only about technical skills, it was also about the story and about telling people something. So it was kind of closer to what we call art normally. All those things, I'll explain the graphics, the music. There were various programs to create great music, the trackers, various trackers, the games, the demo scene. It was all about emotions, about expressing yourself, showing your emotions, and raising some emotions in your audience, so that people get excited, angry, happy, whatever, but they get some emotions out of you. Maybe you heard of this story, but this guy, you probably know him better than me, Albert Einstein. He once had a speech like I'm having today, but when he came to the stage, he saw that all the audience was old ladies. And he thought to himself, if I just tell them about the general relativity laws, they are going to probably sleep by the end of my speech. So he did something totally else. He took out his violin and played a concerto. The result, imagine those ladies. They came to listen to the world's most famous physicists, and they have a concerto played by him on violin. So they had a great experience. They had really high emotions out of it. So this is how you should think about your audience as a game creator, as a demo creator, as whoever you are. Make best impression. Bring emotions to people. Don't bore them down. Don't let them sleep. Don't show what you are best at. Show what they want to see. Later on, I joined some groups, starting from probably totally unknown, like GBS Convex up to Zone 51, and Amnesty later on. In Poland, when we had the demo scene parties, it was really about partying, and partying hard usually. In Poland, the demo scene came from a bit different tradition, as I told you before today. The piracy was totally okay. I mean, you could just copy games to whatever you wanted. You could charge for copying games. So people organized so-called copy parties. We came together to places and copied games, software, demos, whatever. And yes, when demos came to copy parties, a scene has been built. And therefore, those parties were called copy parties at the beginning in our country. Only later on they became known as demo parties. In that part of Europe, the party started right in the train when we were traveling to the party. Then, and you can see the party places were all about, you know, crazy people doing crazy stuff, sleeping everywhere during the parties, like hundreds of people. And actually very tired after the experience, we came back home after showing the demos, after showing the graphics, after sharing our own emotions. So it was very socialized event. Today, the event here is great. I see a lot of socialization. The times have changed a bit. We tend to sit more at the computers, less at the desks. As you can see, not very many computers were there on the desks. People tend to speak to each other. I encourage you to stand up later on and just, talk to people. A demo scene and demo group was about a team that you could trust. So a bunch of people who came together, said to themselves, come on, we can create a demo, and it can be really great. So you could trust each other. If somebody told you, I'm going to deliver you the graphics tomorrow, you probably would have the graphics, or at least that person explaining, sorry, I was busy yesterday, I had school, whatever. It was about stories to tell. Those stories were very simple sometimes. Sometimes there were more, fully fledged, but it was about stories. It was about devoting yourself, spending nights coding the demos, spending nights sending them on disks to friends, no internet at the beginning of demo scene. And it was also about technical skills, so making your production stand out of the competition and showing, wow, that's impossible on the, this machine. And creating a demo was kind of like similar to creating a game in a small team. I mean, everybody was like, let's do it, like, totally, we can do it. We got an idea. It's our demo, it's our game. What documentation? We don't have time for documentation. Same in small game studios. We don't do documentation. We just do the games. A bit of chaos never hurts. Nobody was a manager in a demo group. You rarely see, fully fledged management in small game studios, although there is a little bit of management that is needed if you do a game. Sleep is for the weak people. I mean, there were nights to be had working at computers, sleeping very little, getting up early, staying up till night because the deadline was there. The same happens when you do a game. There is a deadline, you want to release it, there is a publisher or not. You need to stay late at night. The first big difference, and the only one I'm going to show here, is with the demo scene you couldn't get a filthy reach. Not really. With the games, maybe, some of us. But that's still not the reason for most of us to create games. And that's good, because it should be about emotions. It should be about showing your stories. The money comes if you are good and if you have hit the sweet spot on the market, but you shouldn't take the money as your main concern, because then you probably are going to end up like some of the companies like Zynga did, and you don't want to do that. The one huge difference between games and demo scene, games and movies, games and music, games and any kind of other art is interactivity. Because in games, player co-creates the experience of playing. I mean, when you create a movie, when you create a music album, when you create a demo, you are giving a finished piece of art. Somebody watches it, listens to it, can stop watching, stop listening, but he cannot change your album. Maybe yes, he can do remixes, but that's another story. With the game, the player interacts with your game, so he co-creates the whole experience all the time. That makes the games really different and really more difficult to plan for. It just happened in my life later on that I wanted to create games, but the life led me to becoming a normal computer programmer, so I spent time programming some IT stuff. That was also a kind of a good experience because I learned how to program and how to work in a company in some formal structures and do stuff. But one day I realized something